Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, talking fishing. If it's facts about fishing that you want to know, then tune in, folks, cause this is the show. We'll show you all the right bait to use, so sit right back, you got nothing to lose. Doesn't really matter if it's trout or carp, flathead, marlin or a gummy shark. Listen to the guys and you can't go wrong. They'll be talking about fishing till the cows come home. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
Welcome everyone to Talking Fishing, a massive show coming your way as always after a solid downpour of rain all over the state. Amazing to see the Cod Classic still going ahead and some great fish caught too. You'll see them shortly on Catch of the Week. Tonight we have a special guest in the studio and many topics to cover, so let's get into it straight away. It's not a big welcome to the man who travels by kayak, Adam Ring, because he's away, but it's always a big welcome to the man all the way from Shepparton, Stephen Victor Trelford. Welcome, Trelly.
Thank you very much, Dave. But I'm sure Adam is somewhere in a canoe, possibly, trying to get a bit of a fish in.
Or at a wedding in Newcastle.
Okay. Well, he probably took his canoe.
Do people come up to you and know your middle name now, Victor?
Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah, it's a famous invention, isn't it, the old Victor Lawnmower?
Just checking. And our special guest tonight is the Minister responsible for fisheries in this great state of Victoria. It's a special welcome to Jaala Pulford. Welcome, Jaala.
Nice to be back on the show.
Third time?
Oh, third or maybe fourth.
Maybe fourth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always good fun.
Regular.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Lovely to join you again.
I don't think we've had you on for a year.
No, it's been a
I'm
little
going
while.
to get your list out later on that we had on your fridge a year ago.
Okay.
Just see you again, because we're going to tick or cross you tonight. So
This is hardcore accountability for a
Absolutely.
politician.
Absolutely.
That's good though. We're up for that.
But it's been a big year. But let's just talk about the last week, Trelly. A massive amount of rain.
Yes.
And I couldn't find any good high-resolution photos on social media, but a few boats just pulled up on the bank at Lake Mulwala for the Cod Classic and sunk.
Correct. Yeah.
Filled with water and absolutely sunk, didn't they?
Well, they did, and that's what happens when you take off and leave your boat unattended, and you don't go back to check it in that sort of conditions.
Yep.
So yeah, but
in the height of the excitement of the Cod Classic,
Exactly.
Still thousands of people turned up.
Yeah, there's still quite a good number of people turn up, which is really good. And surprisingly, a number of fish that was caught, so it was excellent.
Yeah,
really good.
Cod's become a big thing, Jaala, and I mean a great thanks to the government because of the amount of stocking that goes on, the amount of breeding in Snobs Creek, and we had Steve Vidler here on the couch a couple of weeks ago, and just doing a magnificent job for the cod fishery. When you see a competition like that attracts, near 3,000 competitors, it's an amazing social scene, all revolving around fishing.
Yeah, and it's wonderful just getting people out and about, getting people to spend some time together. That's what we love about it. And our people at Snobs Creek, they are just operating
pretty amazing.
An amazing work rate. I popped in there, I'd been at Lake Eildon and popped in there recently. It was just really nice to have a look around and thank the team for the awesome work that they're doing. But they are flat out. We are breaking records for stocking left, right and centre. And 5 million, we're confident of hitting that target next year. So very exciting.
Go. And you've also got a big announcement tonight. I think you may have already announced it, but it's a secondary announcement tonight about a Murray cod fishery that will be established and could just rival Eildon later on in the program. Folks, let's have a look at what's been caught by the people at home. It's time for Catch of the Week.
Catch of the Week, brought to you by Shimano, providing reliable, trustworthy, quality fishing gear for your enjoyment.
Now, how people went out snapper fishing in the last week is beyond me.
Yep.
With the amount of rain, the wind, the storms, amazing. I mean, it's just been, that 2 to 3 weeks of beautiful 30-degree weather.
Yeah.
And then it just hit, didn't it? But anyway, George Matter, he headed down to Real down near Phillip Island and got a magnificent 7-kilo snapper. The fish in Western Port, I've got to say, I reckon they're rivaling Port Phillip again. It's sort of switched back to Port Phillip.
Yeah.
I reckon it's back on Western Port now. There's some good fish around.
Nice fish. Oh, I don't know, 7 kilos, George.
You reckon?
Hey, so check your scales.
Let's head over to Port Phillip Bay. Grant Willard. Now, Grant hadn't been out fishing for a while, headed out of Patterson Lakes and Didn't know whether to turn left, turn right. Made a couple of phone calls to a pretty good tackle shop around Cramers there.
Yeah.
And got the advice. And anyway, look at the results.
That's a nice little snapper, isn't it? Yeah.
Beautiful snapper.
Nice and flat in the background.
Yeah, absolutely. The Mornington Pier has been fishing amazingly, and I saw a photo. It was too late to get on the show tonight, but I saw a nice gummy shark caught off Mornington Pier today.
Off the pier itself.
Off the pier itself.
Yep.
But young Tyrus Bentley, have a look at this. There's 4 fillets on those 2 fish.
Yeah.
That would be absolutely delightful in beer batter.
Yeah, look at
A couple of
those.
38 centimetre. There just seems to be that, it's that year class of flathead. There seems to be a lot of good, fat, 38 centimetre flathead in the bay at the moment. It's
Well,
just
I
fantastic.
think that's a bit of a result of management, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, netting management.
could be.
Well, now not
Did a
mismanagement.
bit of that.
It has changed things, absolutely, for sure. It's the time of year, the warm currents. If anyone saw the footage from New South Wales Fisheries, they just deployed, well, in fact, what they do is they pull their FADS, which is a fish aggravating.
You say Rumpelstiltskin is probably
Anyway,
easier.
whatever it is. You could say attracting is another word, but
Yes.
fish attracting advice, I'll say that. They put them out off the New South Wales coast. So they
Yeah.
bring them in for maintenance,
Yep.
redeploy them in about 100 metres of water for the dolphin fish. And the current that is pushing down the east coast of Australia at the moment is unbelievable. So what comes with that is the food, and what comes with that is the food chain. And have a look at this. I think it's the first mako shark we've seen for the season. Glenn Gazzola. He was out off the Flinders Bank, which is out through Western Port.
Yep.
And a lovely mako shark, and that's some of the best eating shark you'll find in Victoria.
That's a nice fish too. So, maintenance on a fad. Now, what do? They sharpen the points on them? Will they
Now, well, a fad is
polish
just a
them up?
buoy,
Or what do they
and
do? Check the oil?
well, that's another announcement we're going to make tonight. But
Okay.
there's some
We might get
fads
to see
coming.
one.
You're going to see
Yeah.
some photos,
Have
but
some fad
Yep.
news shortly,
you've got
Bad
some
news.
bad news.
Fabulous.
including what the A actually stands for.
Can you say it?
Aggregation.
That's the one. I can't just, you know what? I've
We're not
trouble with
letting him
some
just
words.
drown in his words. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, we're not talking about.
But also
amazing.
attraction works.
So
Yeah.
you can imagine a buoy,
Yep.
100 metres, or no, probably about 140 metres, because you've got to give it a current, and then whatever they use to anchor it.
Yeah.
And they actually, in New South Wales, and I'm not sure of Victoria's program because we haven't got FADS yet, so far this week, and they pull them out for maintenance because all the growth
Yeah.
on the rope and the growth on the buoy, and that they get them out for maintenance once a year, and then they redeploy them,
Yeah.
put the GPS marks up on the Fisheries website
Yep.
in New South Wales. And that program's been going about 10 years, and they are fantastic.
I thought a bit of growth would, help them along.
Yeah, but you don't want them
Their presence.
deteriorating.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Have a look at this, Lake Tyers, which is another great recreational fishery. The nets went out 15 years ago. Matilda Ott, a beautiful, and that's a thumping brim. Not
That
a beautiful
is.
brim, that's a thumping brim.
Yeah.
Well done, Matilda. All right, let's head north for the Cod Classic, because it was a great event, even though there was rain, there was boats sunk. It was just a fantastic event. And the first one that we'll show you is a 61 centimetre Murray cod caught off the shorelines, Trelly,
Yes.
by young Ryan Greenhalgh. His grandfather's ex-Fisheries.
Yep.
And that's just a beautiful cod,
I'm
isn't it?
just
for a
trying to pick
young
where
man?
he is there. But
I've got no idea.
yeah, that's a nice looking fish. So there's a lot of fish caught off the bank up there because of the conditions.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So what, the wind pushing all the fish in the bait? Or?
just the rain and wind. Yeah, so in general.
Yeah.
But you'll come up with this next one, which I think is
Well, this one was...
Maybe off the bank too?
I'm not sure. Is Picnic Point part of the Cod Classic?
no, that's down
so
near
this
Barma,
was-
just upstream from
Oh,
Barma.
mate was just having a fish then for the celebrating the cod opening. Neil Templar got a 68 centimetre cod, lovely fish. He looks a bit wet too, and there's a bit of flooding behind him, I reckon.
Yeah, no, that's right. Actually, that fished that area of the Murray River fished really well on Friday.
Yeah.
And for those who actually sort of braved the weather to when the rain sort of really set in, fished really well on Saturday too. So yeah, so that's a nice fish.
There you go. And lucky last, the winner of the Cod Classic with a 122 centimetre Murray cod was Kyle Stevenson.
Golly.
Look at that. That's
That's
nice.
a monster.
That's big.
That was actually caught off the bank as well.
Was it
I've
really?
been told. And I think, well, just looking at that photo, I reckon that's around about where the channel runs out on the north side and runs out to
Yeah.
Finley in New South Wales. So yeah, if it's the spot, it's a really good point to fish that one, obviously. But
There you go.
yeah, great fish.
If you'd like to send in a pic of your catch of the week, this is what you have to do.
If you like me and have your photo on TV, email your fishing pic to info@ifish.com.au.
Very quickly, Trelly, do you reckon we'll ever see a competition like the Cod Classic held at Eildon?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean,
I think it's time.
Oh yeah, because you look at that, you look at Eildon, and so many people are looking to go cod fishing.
Yeah.
In that closed season, so we'll probably see Eildon.
Maybe a winter comp.
Yeah, well, it'd be between
September
obviously,
and
yeah, August, I reckon, August, September.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's on the cards for sure.
There you go. Next on Talking Fishing, Fisheries News, and we take a look at the Minister's list of things to deliver during this term of government right after this.
Talking fishing.
We know what you'd rather be doing.
We know what you've really got in mind.
We know you'd rather be out fishing. And today's the day you're gonna wet a line. 'Cause every day's a good day.
Stop wishing. Every day's a chance to drift away.
Drift away.
Every day's a good day for fishing. See it down and tackle world today.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing. We're talking fishing.
Live from the studios of Channel 31 Melbourne, it's now time for some very fishy news.
A little bit of news before we get into the nitty-gritty with the Minister. Let's kick it off with, there's going to be a new fish gantry at Apollo Bay. It's official, no more arguments over who caught the biggest fish. I think we've got a photo of it coming up. A shiny new fish gantry at the port of Apollo Bay has been unveiled and is now ready to be used. The gantry was funded by our Better Fishing Facilities Fund, another part of our Target 1 Million plan to get more Victorians fishing more often. And it's not the only one popping up. I hear there's one being built at Lakes Entrance for the sword fishery.
Okay.
But this is fantastic for Apollo Bay and that stretch of the coast that is seeing more kingfish, more southern bluefin tuna brought in. And it is important to an angler to weigh their catch, isn't it,
Yeah,
Trevor?
it weighs accurately.
Well, I hope so.
Of course it does.
Last one I seen a gantry was in the old jail where Ned Kelly was. It didn't weigh at all, but
No.
anyway.
But
yeah,
I mean,
these are good.
you know, the people of Apollo Bay could add 10 kilos to it, so they outdo Portland, couldn't they, I guess? So it's a possibility. Don't give them ideas. They're a bit funny
It's all
down
about tourism.
It is, yeah. All right, racing through these, the Murray Codference is on this weekend. A couple of slides on that. Recreational anglers can get along this Sunday, the 10th of December, to Shepparton. The Codference is on. Steve Starling is the guest presenter. A few others presenting there. We'll go through this pretty quickly. If you can go to East Bank Conference Centre in Shepparton, it's 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And Trelly, you'll be there. A whole lot of other people will be there.
Correct.
It's a great event. If you want to know the ins and outs of Murray Cod, get along to the conference. You need to register, and the website is on your screens as we speak.
340 people so far.
So
registered.
nearly a sellout.
340 people, but there's plenty of room left, so don't be
Like about
shy.
10 seats.
And with the river condition, but with the river conditions the way it is at the moment, with the, the high waters and things, it's a good opportunity if you can't go fishing to actually get along to the conference because you'll learn a lot about it. The night before we've got a fly thing in the shop, a Murray Cod fly for a couple of hours, and then we're having a barbecue back in the shop after the conference.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
It's all happening in Shepparton.
Excellent.
Lucky last, Hooked on Portland Festival is on Australia Day next year. In fact, it's a 3-year festival. It starts on Friday, the 26th of January, taking in the Australian Day public holiday weekend. All those things are occurring, like kids' activities, cooking demos, markets, twilight cinema. The tuna will be on. Get down to Portland because it will be a big event. Now, Minister.
How am I going on my list?
Well, let's have a look. We got a photo of your fridge. Now, this is from a year ago, the list on your fridge. I think we've got to show, there you go, that's the list on your fridge. Most people have their shopping lists and all that.
I have my
you've got
fishing
your,
things
your
to do
list
list.
of things to do.
No broccoli.
And that was November 2016. So you got a few things to tick off there. The $2,000 grants to fishing clubs.
They're going
How'd
well.
that go?
Yeah, they're going really well.
I think that'll get a tick. I'm going to rate those as we go. So
they have been
gets a
out
tick.
and about, and all sorts of great projects have been supported in local clubs. So
do you know how many clubs?
Ooh, hang on, let me check.
It's all right.
180.
180 clubs.
Yeah, so lots of good different projects, audio-visual equipment, gear for the club rooms.
Yep.
And it's really about making clubs, that little bit better, a bit more welcoming projects to encourage new people to come along. Yeah, but 180 of them, so that's good,
There
isn't
you
it?
go. Now,
Do I get a tick for that?
Yeah, there's someone live at your fridge and he's not doing a good job, but he needs to tick the next one. Hello? Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
How did you do that?
Now.
That's very high tech.
There's someone
Mr. Squid,
live at
wasn't
your fridge ticking off your list. Now, band netting at Gippsland Lakes River Mouse. Done?
Yeah, yes. We've our Target 1 Million coordinator Craig Ingram did some great work with both rec fishers and the commercial industry down in the Gippsland Lakes, and we've made some good improvements there. Some better signage and marking, so everybody knows what's what and what's
where the entrance to River Mouth
happening.
is.
Yeah, and so that's that was a really good and detailed piece of work, just working closely with everyone, making sure that those improvements can be made. Yeah, I think we get a tick for that.
You didn't turn up like a suitcase full of cash and
no,
pay for your moffity.
The mouths of the
these netters.
The mouths and the boundaries were marked by all kinds of strange equipment.
Yeah.
Like I think from memory there might have even been
like
a fridge in one spot. Yeah, so we fixed all that up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's done.
That was a famous marker, that fridge. You pished just past the fridge.
Yeah, that's right.
Not allowed to net the other side of the fridge.
That's right.
Can we cross live to
will
Jaala's
improvise.
kitchen there, please, in the control room? And a tick. Can we get another... look at that. We got another tick. All right. The Statutory Authority. You were given the task of setting up the Victorian Fisheries Authority, which is the old Fisheries Victoria.
Yes, that's right. So that's now up and running.
Done.
We've got our board in place, CEO appointed. The staff, our experienced and dedicated Fisheries Victoria staff who, know all the ins and outs of managing our fisheries, they've all moved across. So we've made sure that they've all had a nice, neat transition for their employment conditions and looked after them in that respect. And the authority's been up and running since the 1st of July. So we had to take some legislation into the Parliament and debate all that, work all that through, and it's been, I think, a really smooth transition. So it's good. Yes, we've done that one.
You've had some late nights in Parliament of recent.
Oh yeah, we've had some very late nights.
We've had some early mornings actually.
Yes.
How did that legislation go? Was it well supported by the whole of Parliament? Because as a punter, I guess we wanted to see fisheries running better.
Yep.
We wanted to see a world-class authority, and I often say to people, we've got world-class fishing in Victoria now. If you look at our King George whiting, I think we're just about up there with South Australia in some of the oceanic waters.
Yeah, some big ones over there.
We've got world-class snapper. We've got world-class calamari. We've got world-class southern bluefin tuna. So we've got world-class research. We've got world-class management. The thing that will top that off is an overarching world-class authority.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
I would hope. Sorry, I didn't let you answer that question. Was it well supported by everybody? Because that's what we want is full support.
Look, it was,
Yeah.
and the late nights that you're talking about,
Other subjects.
Another subject, and one that's very, very important to a lot of people in the community. And we saw a few sunrises at Parliament. It's sleep is a really important thing, and we kind of skipped it a bit there for a while. But we didn't have to stay up and see the sunrise on the Fisheries Authority legislation, thank goodness. There was really good support. There was a bit of debate around the edges around responsibilities and some definitions, but no, we had strong support, and I think that certainly holds the Fisheries Authority in good stead, knowing it's got good support from the Parliament, and that all went through pretty neatly a little while ago now.
I was a bit disappointed with your late night participation in Parliament with your, I know the die with dignity went a fair bit, but I thought die while we're fishing could have been probably included in there somewhere. I reckon.
I'll mention that to the Health Minister next time I see her. That was a tough subject, and it brings up a lot for a lot of people. But I've found everywhere I've gone for a month, people want to talk about it, and it's touched a lot of people. So we've been, really careful to get that right, and sort of look after some people who are in a pretty tough situation.
As a minister, has it changed? Now that it's not a government department, It's a statutory authority. Is your interaction change much?
It's slightly different. So instead of having the head of fisheries reporting through sort of a departmental structure, now it's a little bit outside of that, which I think is certainly a good thing for fisheries management. They're a bit more independent and able to do their own thing. But so our fisheries staff, in a formal sense, are responsible to a board, and because it's a new authority, because everyone loves fishing, we had great strong interest, a really competitive recruitment process for our board, and we've got people with lots of different skills and experience, people who know how to run the books, people who know the ins and outs of the laws of the land, people who know all the different things that we need captured, that have experience and knowledge in governance and how to run an organisation properly. And we've got a chair of the board, Gail Owen, who has on 2 previous occasions been the first ever chair of a new organisation. We've got somebody who's looking after the leadership of that organisation, who has some really good experience in setting something up from the get-go. Many of the functions do just, you sort of pick them up and move them out of the department and pop them into the authority, and certainly that's what we've done with the staff, a really neat direct transfer. But like any new organisation, everybody needs a little bit of time to settle in. It's been less than 6 months, but I'm really happy with how it's going. It's great.
Good. All right, let's cross to your kitchen and see your fridge list. And do we get another tick for the statutory? Yes, look at that. I'll tell you what, things are going well. Now, stocking. We're going to talk about stocking later, because you haven't quite made the 5 million mark yet.
No, but we're well on target.
On the way. Well, you don't get a tick unless you've done it. So no tick for the bottom. We're going to leave you something to do.
I'll come back next year. I'll come back next year, and we'll tick that box next year. We've just hit the target for 1 million trout.
1 million trout.
Yeah, which is first ever, and we are well on the way for 5 million for next year. So I'll come back if that's all right, and give it another tick. But also, if I could just give you a little update on the first item on the list, which is the netting out of Port Phillip and Corio Bay. So Corio Bay nets will be out by the 1st of April next year, so we're getting really close to nets being gone altogether. There was 43 licences, as everybody will probably remember. 33 opted out in year 1. 8 are shifting to line fishery.
Long line.
That's right. And the way that we designed the legislation was that we'd give people a bit of time to make that change. And then there's another 2 then that will each year have an option to elect to stay in for another year or to go out. So those letters to those 2 went out in the last week or so. And we've actually got some legislation in the Parliament just this week, last week, just introduced last week, that will respond to some requests by some of those people that are netting and line fishing, that are going to stick around in line fishing. There are some of those 8 who've said they're done with the nets, they'd like to get out, and so we're just going to make a little tweak to the laws to allow them to get out earlier than they'd originally planned. So that first item on the list, yes, we got those laws passed, most of that done, but we're still kind of tracking ahead of schedule on that.
So the important thing is Corio Bay will be totally net free by April next year.
That's not very far away now.
No. And that's testament to, I know, the local MP down there, Lisa Neville, who fought hard for Corio Bay, because, originally it was a bit of a Corio Bay thing, a bit of a push, then it became the whole of Port Phillip Bay, and it was possible that Corio Bay sort of just got swallowed up in the whole thing, and I think Lisa was instrumental in really pushing that Corio Bay thing, and I think the people of Geelong, they don't realise how good it's going to get for about another year, and then it's going to get damn good.
Then it's going to be
still showing
fantastic.
Improvements, but it's
it is, no doubt. But
fishing's improving.
Wait till it's all gone in Corio Bay, it's going to be a different place. Up next, we continue our chat with the Minister responsible for Fisheries, Jaala Pulford, about what we can expect over the next 12 months in the great world of fishing. Right after this, on Talking Fishing.
Talking Fishing.
Good morning, spotters. Stephanie speaking.
Hi, David Kramer here. If you love talking fishing, why not get your company involved? Just go to talkingfishing.com.au and click the link to help support the show. Get on board today.
Talking fishing. Talking fishing, talking fishing. Nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
And no product of the week because Adam's gone. We just decided not to do it this week because we've got a lot to talk about with the Minister responsible for Fisheries, Jaala Pulford. Plenty happening, but can I just put a line in the sand? We're 12 months out from an election, and don't take this the wrong way, but you probably in a year's time won't be the Minister for Fisheries.
Oh.
But no, sorry to break the news to you, but history says that you always change portfolios.
Well,
Unless, well, it could be proven wrong.
well,
So-
you know, that's firstly up to all of the voters in Victoria, and
yeah, I
then
know.
secondly up to the Premier. But
Yeah.
I have.
The odds are...
I love being the Minister for Fisheries.
I know.
It's
Can I just say the odds
great.
are that it's always changed. Even, you know, whether it's a Labor or a coalition government that got successive terms, we've always had a change of Minister for Agriculture.
Oh.
So,
I
let
don't
me
know
put
how
it to
I
you.
feel about that. I love my job.
I know.
So we're going to get a petition going.
Yeah,
righto.
we could. We might have a word to the big bloke, but given that you may only have 12 months, we want to talk about some of the things that you're going to achieve in the next 12 months.
Yep.
Right. So if you've got to tick off and go, you know, like, and I've got to say, Trelly, you would have met Joe Helper in his day as the minister, and I always said Joe Helper was the greatest. I call it Fisheries Minister. There's no real minister for fisheries.
I answer to that, as you know.
You know, it's the important stuff. You know, Joe Helper was the greatest. And I say was because, you know, you're just overtaking him. Easy.
Oh, you're very
Poor
kind.
old Joe. He was so good. But he's
he was
gone.
great.
He was
you know,
good. He was good all rounder, Joe.
Yeah.
I mean, he's locked on both sides. He did.
But he was in an era of real change.
Yeah.
And some of those times were tough for change. And I think fishing is in such it's in such great shape. And so the programs you've delivered have just taken it from, I'll relate it, Commonwealth Games to Olympic Games. You know, like it's the best now. It really is.
Yeah, that's right. And the beauty is that whichever we look at honestly look at what your job that you've done, Jaala, is. It wouldn't matter whether you're a coalition or you're Labor. I know that matters to you, but to us as fishermen, you're such a champion of the cause. That gets sort of obscure to actually what the focus is.
Nothing
on
worse than a minister who doesn't really take any care in recreational fishing, Trelly.
No, that's right, exactly.
Like we've had.
Yeah, we've got a few photos of Jaala in her waders.
I know, it must be time to get my waders on again.
Oh, no, exactly. Well, let's talk about that. So fish stocking, you've got a target of 5 million fish?
5 million, yep, and we are on track to meet it next year. So,
do you know what you've done this year? Or sorry, last?
Well, we hit 4.
Hit 4?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and you know, the production's up and they are going really hard, and I can't say I've personally put them all in, but I've put a lot in my waders, different points in different waterways. And it's and you know, it's great to be able to hear when I'm travelling around the state, because, you know, as Minister for Regional Development, Minister for Agriculture, I don't spend much time in Melbourne, spend a lot of time out and about in regional Victoria talking to people, and, you know, wherever I go, you know, people want to talk about their fishing experiences, and it's really nice to hear back from people that they're getting better fishing experiences and that they're having a great time, and you know, and that people are having a go for the first time too. So that's really good. It's nice to know. You know, I think as a politician and as part of a government, you know, there's nothing quite so rewarding as knowing that the work that you're involved in, and it, you know, it takes lots and lots of people to you know, achieve things in government. You know, the people at Snobs Creek who are working hard, and the people at the Fisheries Authority, and, you know, everybody that we work with. But it's terrific to know that you're making a difference. I think that's really why we all get into this kind of caper.
Now, a brand new initiative that's launched today is people can track how many fish have been stocked. I think we've got a little bit of a slide to No, that's for later.
That's
for later on. Turn that one down. I think we were meant to have the.
Nah, that's all right. Put it on.
We were meant to have the one
Cat's
that
out of
looks
the bag now.
That looks like that.
That's the
Cat's out of the bag.
Here we go.
The fish stocking database. We just gave away a secret that's coming up.
That's a little-
20 minutes away.
That's a little taster for a bit later in the show.
The fish stocking database. Now, people at home, if you want to know where fish are being stocked and when, Fisheries, the Victorian Fisheries Authority has developed a database that makes all the fish stocking records searchable from 1990 to the present day. The website's there, vfa.vic.gov.au/database. You can get it off the homepage of VFA as well, and I think there's a Facebook post that's just gone out.
That would have the link as well.
It would have the link as
yeah,
well.
that's right. And you
So
had
people can keep tabs on you, every single fish that you
yes,
put in, they can keep tabs on it.
it's amazing. Yeah, and so you can search by water, by species, by location. Like, so you can Google map search it as well. So we encourage people to have a look.
I'm getting yelled at that we're way behind in times, but they've put the graphic up twice now. Is there something going on with fads in Victoria, Jaala?
There is. This is what a fad looks like.
Yep.
In case you missed it, in case you blinked and missed it when we put it up a bit earlier. So fish aggregation devices or fads, as Dave was saying.
Aggregation. So I can say that easy.
Aggregations, it's easy now. They
Practiced.
been a bit of a hit in New South Wales, and so we thought we'd trial them as part of our Target 1 Million work, and it's great to be able to announce here on Talking Fishing this evening that we will be installing 5, specially built for the existing reef structure off Torquay that we've had there for a little while now, Revs Reef as it's known.
So these are going like within close proximity of that reef, are they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And
Wow.
you heard it here first,
Yeah.
and you saw it here twice.
I thought it was a great idea you put the phone number on there.
Yeah. That's
Like, that'll
brilliant.
never be seen again.
Well, you know.
They'll be there forever, Trelly. And
For maintenance.
Yeah,
You'll see it on
well,
maintenance.
the thing is that
That's right.
the
Curious
mahi-mahi,
scuba divers.
the mahi-mahi or dolphin fish always turn up at certain times of the year in Portland, and they just travel on through and you never see them again.
Or they'll just ring the number and find the next one.
They could ring the number, yeah. But the fish will hang on those because they just swim around in circles around those sort of things. So
Put the coordinates into their iPhones.
exactly, yeah.
Exactly.
We've got to keep going. Up next, Kramers Mailbag, and the Minister responsible for Fisheries, Jaala Pulford, has a couple of more announcements to make right after this on Talking Fishing.
Talking fishing.
Make mine a Mornington.
G'day, David Kramer here. I'm a massive fan of the Mazda BT50, having personally driven and owned one for more than 5 years now. And to tell you what, you can't beat it for an all-round great ute and a great tow vehicle. Get into Mornington Mazda before the end of the month and grab yourself a run-out bargain. I made mine a Mornington Mazda.
Make mine a Mornington Mazda.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
And a little bit of mailbag before we get into some more nitty-gritty and a couple of big announcements coming away any minute now after mailbag. Let's kick it off. Damien and Hemi, they wrote into us.
Damien and Hemi.
From Altona, and they said, awesome show, boys. Note, Kramer, please feel free to edit or reword this email so it reads better for you if required. Well, you can actually spell, unlike some of the people that write into mailbag, so I won't do that. I'll just read it as it is. Recently, reading through the 2017 fishing guide, I noticed that some popular targeted species don't have a size limit. For example, trout, squid, no size limit. What the? Why? Surely common sense tells me a size limit of around 25 centimetres would be acceptable. Your boys' thoughts? From Damien.
Well, I think there's been some introduction, but probably print.
Well, two things. Let's separate
Time.
those species, right? I'll talk about squid first, because the thing about squid is, Damien, is that they die after a year. So squid only grow as big as the food source that's around them. So if there's a very scarce food source, they may only grow to 20 centimetres, but they're going to die because they only live to about a year old. There's never been one found in Port Phillip Bay by Dr. Corey Green, in his research down at Queenscliff, over a year old. So they do die. So why not take them? Because there's no scientific reason why you shouldn't take them.
Imagine being born a squid.
Oh, yeah.
Got a year. That's
Imagine
it.
if someone said, "Can I come to your birthday?" And you go, "I'm not going to have one." well,
That's right.
that's what they'd say at school. wouldn't
Exactly,
they?
yeah.
Can we come to your party?
You
I'm not
count
going to have
by
one.
months.
I'm not having one this year.
I'm 1 month old.
What about your brother? He's not going to make it either. Anyway, trout.
Yeah.
That's a different ballgame because one of the election commitments was to introduce a minimum size limit for trout, and that has been introduced in some waters around the state. So I guess one of the things around trout, the big thing is that in many waters, they're in a put and take fishery. You put them in,
that's
we
right.
want people to take them out. So if they're stocked at 24 centimetres, why not let the kids take them out?
Yeah.
You know, so, but there has been some waters that you have introduced regular. Oh, in fact, it might even be a fisheries notice. Not sure, but there has been some size limits introduced in Victoria. So there you go,
Yeah, it's how
Damien.
it's done.
That's the answer to that one. G'day, Kramer and Co. It seems great strides have been made with the Target 1 Million program, and efforts of fisheries have been brilliant overall. However, the one area that seems to be overlooked is the Yarra and tributaries. Considering the coverage of the Yarra and its tributaries, if access was improved overall and maybe some stocking in some places, then it would increase the fishing opportunities right on the doorstep of many through the suburbs, therefore increasing the number of people fishing more often. Just a thought. This is from Chris. There you go.
Good work, Chris.
It's not, I don't think anyone talks about developing the Yarra as a fishery.
No, not so much.
No.
What would you recommend we put in there as a stocking approach, like redfin?
No, I don't think you're allowed to stock redfin, Charlie.
No, up our way, I'll tell you what, redfin is a prized fish, and I think we should start stocking redfin.
If they died off it too, it'd be interesting.
Put it out there.
We're going to keep moving on. This one came on registered post today. There you go, registered post. I've got to keep flying because we've got some big announcements to make. But this one, is actually, I'm going to give this to you, Jaala, because it's addressed to you. I'll give it to you after the show. But it says pretty much, can the government build 2 new ramps in Port Phillip Bay, north and south? They never seem to have a problem building freeways.
We're doing a bit of that.
And in fact, I reckon every freeway is being...
Train lines, yeah.
And train lines.
Yeah,
Maybe
plenty.
a tunnel to the boat ramp.
Yeah. My suggestion for the government
I'll
is to
mention
build
it to my
these
colleagues.
ramps so that when our boat reg is due, we pay extra to use it as a reasonable price and receiving a registered ramp sticker. This is very important as I'm sick of going to Altona ramp, putting up with large crowds and huge parking problems. Good idea. And do you know, this is from Graham. Graham, your letter, I'm just going to hand it to the Minister because that's who you addressed it to.
Thank
There
you,
go.
Graham.
It doesn't get any more direct than that, Graham, I tell you.
No, it's a really interesting idea that you'd have your licence holders have a sticker, and that's a bit of a gateway to access.
Launch of the ramp.
Because we've got that many extra people out and about fishing and having a great time of it and spreading the word with all their mates. You know, we know that that there are some places that are getting some big crowds, and
Access is an issue, isn't it?
Yep, that's right, and we're conscious of that, and we want to work on that.
If you'd like to write into Kramers Mailbag, this is what you do. Oh.
Send your mail to Kramers Mailbag, PO Box 734, Patterson Lakes, Victoria 3197, or email kramer@ifish.com.au.
All right, we're on the ball tonight.
Yeah, that's it.
Next subject. The most asked question on our mailbag, on our Facebook post, on anything worldwide is, what's going on at Hazelwood with the Barramundi?
They're doing all right.
They're doing all right?
They're doing all right.
Not all of them, but 1,500 of them are doing really well.
Okay.
So as everybody would know, Engie, the French company that owns the Hazelwood mine, made a decision to close the mine in March. And so government's been doing a whole lot to support workers in the Latrobe Valley with all of that change. And one of the things that we did commit to before the election. Someone put to us this wild idea
Silly
about
idea.
about a Barramundi fishery in Hazelwood Pondage. So the water has been warm there, mostly because it's the water that's used in the cooling towers. And so when the mine was operating, it had kind of washed through. And I didn't realise this until we first went to open the fishery and stock the fish, but it's like being in the bath. It's just, I was in up to my knees, and it's just magnificent. Wonderful spot for for locals to access for all sorts of things. And so there you go. So we put the barra in. The owners decided to close the mine, and we're dealing with the impacts of that for the local community in a whole lot of different ways as best we could. But we had to also keep an eye on the water temperature for our tropical fish that were a fair way south. So it's been a lot of really careful monitoring of all of that during the winter. It's been a bit cold for some of them, but around 1,500 of them have made it through the winter in really good condition. They're quite big now.
I got to say, I saw a sneaky photo and they're near a metre.
Yes.
There's some big fish in there.
So they're having a lovely time, and we are looking forward to having a bit of news to share with everyone about reopening that fishery for the summer. And we're also working with the Gippsland Water Authority and Ongi, the people people that own the area, to secure some land-based access. So that'll be a truly wonderful experience for people over the summer.
There you go. You've heard it from the Minister's mouth that Barramundi are surviving in Hazelwood Pondage, and stay tuned because it is going to open. Coming up next, we've got a massive thing that's happening out west, as well as this week's hotspots. We'll be back shortly on Talking Fishing.
Talking Fishing.
G'day, Callan here from Paul Worslam's Tackle World Cranbourne. Supercharged batteries have been supplying maintenance-free marine batteries since 2001. The Seamaster Gold range is second to none, delivering superior starting power and reserve capacity. No need to top up with water, truly a fit and forget battery. With up to 2 years replacement warranty, you know you have quality. Your battery is your lifeline. Without it, you're dead in the water because it's bloody hard to push start. I've got a Seamaster battery in my boat. Make yours a Seamaster Gold today.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
And now the segment you've all been waiting for.
Hotspots, brought to you by Seamaster Batteries. Make yours a Seamaster Gold today.
All right, I think the rain's cleared.
For the moment.
For the moment. So we might give you some hot spots where we think you can catch a fish. And I tell you what, there's going to be a lot of fresh water entering the bays, particularly Port Phillip Bay through the Yarra. We might try and get Paul Hamer on the show. I know we've only got 2 weeks left, but I'd love to know what effect that has on snapper spawning. But anyway, let's put you on a snapper. Chelsea. Go out deep, at least to 20 metres, find some structure out there. There's plenty of structure off Chelsea. 20 metres, some magnificent snapper. I think if you stick a bit too close into shore, you're going to be affected by all that runoff. It's absolutely pouring out of Patterson River, which is fed by the Dandenong Creek, and the water is just brown. In fact, they closed the gates to the marina over the weekend, and also I think they opened them this morning. So a lot of fresh water coming into the bay, so stick out deep for the snapper. The other one is the Pinnis Channel, is number 2. Head out right into the middle of the bay. It gets flushed with salt water really, really well. Be unaffected by the rain that we've had. And there is some magnificent King George whiting out there already, plus some big calamari, and just a whisper, some cuttlefish. But don't say I mentioned it. Cuttlefish on the Pinnis Channel.
Words out.
Yep. Let's head over to Western Port, the middle spit, go up to the top end, and don't go inside, go outside. There's some lovely big King George whiting sitting in around the 11 to 12 metre mark, so fish deep. Let's head down a bit south to Stony Point. I'm flying through these because we've got a lot to talk about. Stony Point, King George whiting. You don't have to go far from the ramp. That's not that affected, that area, by the amount of rain that will be entering into Western Port. So Stony Point's another great hotspot. Now, I tell you, we were talking about trout and size limits and stocking and all that sort of stuff.
Correct.
There is a beautiful little place. Now, I reckon a great way to go is get on the train. It's called Puffing Billy.
Oh, yes.
And take your fishing rods. because when you get off at the other end, it's at Emerald Park Lake, and that lake is stocked with rainbow trout. So take the kids up for the weekend or for the day or whatever, and on the weekend, and go and have a fish. Emerald Park Lake, got plenty of trout in it. This cold weather and Emerald Park Lake being up in the Dandenongs a little bit highly elevated, it's a bit cooler water, and it's probably one of the better places to go trout fishing at this time of year. And it is full, yeah, absolutely. And lucky last, head down to Lake Tyers, because 1 million tourists are booked into Lake's entrance for this Christmas, and it's just going to be mayhem. I mean, Tyers is fishing well. The entrance is really closed, although I think a lot of this rain will really have the level hitting high. The fish are going to push out to the salt, and I think Lake Tyers will just be on fire. Get there before the tourists get there. You've got about 2 weeks before 1 million people turn up, but Brim and Flathead are on fire. There you go. All right, let's head to the west of the state, and there's a lake called Rocklands Reservoir, and for many, many years there's been a push, I know, by VR Fish in particular, who have done a fantastic job on this one, of trying to say that this would be the perfect water for native fish, Murray cod and golden perch. And Jaala, you're making it happen.
We've got some news.
Yeah.
It's very exciting. Rocklands Reservoir, it's not that far from Horsham, would go well as part of a trip with Tolondo, so in that same part of Victoria. So we have been doing a bit of stocking this week. 70,000 Murray cod this week, another 150,000 over the summer. And
Murray cod?
Yep.
So that's 220,000 Murray cod going in.
All £3 each.
And wait, there's more. 200,000 yellow belly into the lake. So this is going to be
in over summer as well.
Into Rocklands. Yep.
Wow.
So that is going to be just magnificent. Another thing, another magnificent reason to go to this part of Victoria. It's in my electorate, an area that I absolutely love to bits. And some of your viewers might have seen some of the amazing silo art that's going on. There's
Is that out that way?
It's out that way. So you could go to Londo, which obviously is very different to what it was when we came to government. Rocklands, on the doorstep of the Grampians. So, if you want to go for a short trip or you want to go for a bit of a longer trip, there's a lot to see. And then, this amazing silo art as well, which is, another good reason to stay for a few days.
You see the photos in the paper. I've never seen it in life. Have you, Charlie?
I have. There's a couple up our way too.
It is amazing.
Yeah, I've seen two or three of them, and they're just magnificent. But we want you to go for the fishing.
For the fishing, yes. We're going to talk about Rocklands again. I just want to touch on something that reminded me. I don't know that you realise, Jaala, but Tolondo's sitting on 44% as of today, and it has some great trout, great redfin in it. I don't know that if you realise that if you hadn't have come to the rescue in, I think, your first 2 months as a government, if you hadn't have put that 10,000 meg in, those fish wouldn't have survived, and all that would be in Tolondo is newly stocked fish, which wouldn't have been big at all. So, for every single fish that's 3, 4, 5, 6 pound in there, they have got that 10,000 megs to thank for. And it was a big day, because it's not every day that you get the Minister for Agriculture, the Minister for Water and the Premier to press the button and open the gate on a gate that had been locked shut for 4 years by the previous government that didn't want to save Tolondo. And that saved the fish, and you saved Tolondo, and it's fantastic.
It was really exciting. We'd been in government, felt like all of 5 minutes, I reckon maybe a month in. But I think I got a sense of how important this was when we had a few damp eyes in some of the grown men who had been pushing for this for a very, very long time. And it's a stunning spot. It's just magnificent.
Now, let's get back onto Rocklands, because one of the things about Rocklands is that I think this is the first time that Murray cod have been stocked, I guess, out of their natural range. And I think we've got a photo of Rocklands, and we're going to run out of time. I know we've got about 1 minute left. Look at the trees. It's a flooded forest. The thing about this is the maximum depth is 17 metres, unlike Lake Eildon. What's the size of Rocklands?
Half the size of Lake Eildon.
Is it really?
Yes, which is,
It's a big area.
you know, like you compare that to somewhere
Well,
like
Albert Park Lake.
Albert Park Lake.
Do you know it's 130 times the size of Albert Park Lake? So you can imagine that as a Murray cod fishery. Now it's full of carp and full of redfin.
Yep.
I'd be fearsome if I was a red carp.
They won't get you sleep.
If I was a redfin or a carp, I would be very, very nervous. But that is a major thing out west.
Yep.
And check out that photo. We'll put that up on our Facebook tomorrow because it is an amazing place and it's going to be full of water. So full of fish in years to come. And you know the thing is that those fish live for 50 years of Murray cod.
Yeah.
We've got a big fishery ahead of us. That's it for Talking Fishing. We hope you enjoyed the show. Jaala, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Appreciate that a lot.
Always good fun. Great to be able to share some of the news of what we're doing and
Absolutely.
make sure that my list's under control.
Next week, another big show and another special guest, Jaala. I tell you what, this bloke, he is the famous Italian newsreader from 3AW. The one and only Tony Tardio will be joining us on the couch next week. Remember, all of the info from tonight's show will be up on our Facebook page tomorrow. Until we see you again next Tuesday on Talking Fishing, stay safe on the water and enjoy your fishing.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing. We got all you need, just take a look. Watch those fish jump on your hook. So just relax and take your time. Enjoy the show, then drop us a line. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing. Talking fishing.
Have a good weekend, Mr. Walker.
You too, son.